It's a beautiful Tuesday from the Center of Unity, Abuja, that is the capital city of Nigeria. And we're broadcasting live from KAFTAN television. We're broadcasting live from the Abuja studios. And the program is the Polity. My name is Dayo Omoogun. I'm very excited to be here because I have assurance, I have a certainty that you are at the other end, and together we make this happen all the time. Without you, this is incomplete. Without you, this is inchoate. Without you, this program will be nothing. Like I say all the time, if a teacher will go into the class to teach an empty class, then something is definitely wrong. But thank God that you're there and you make the Polity happen all the time for KAFTAN TV, for Nigeria, for the world. Thank you for being there. Like I said before, my name is Dayo Omoogun. This edition of the Polity, we will be taking a look at what exactly should we put in place in readiness for the 2027 elections. What legal reforms? Are there legal reforms? Are there legal provisions? Are there political provisions? Are there security things that we need to tackle to ensure that at the end of the elections, the story, the testimony will be a lot better than we've had before now? That's what we intend to talk about. And to do this with me, I have in the studio, in fact, it's a lawyer's show today. And in the studio, I have with me a very prominent Abuja-based legal practitioner. He's been very articulate, he's been upfront, he's been in the vanguard of trying to x-ray national issues for so many years right now. And his name is Barrister Casmir Igwe. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And then by remote, that is by Zoom, we will be connecting a little later with Barrister President Aigbokhan. That's the only person whose president now follow come. So his name is Barrister President Igwe Aigbokhan. He will be joining us in the course of the program, maybe just a few moments from now. I do hope that he's there watching right now, and at the appropriate time he will connect. And so we hit the road immediately as I begin to talk about these issues. Barrister Igwe, what exactly do you think that we need to begin to put in place so that our story, I mean, you know how they say that doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. And I do know that we're not insane in this country. I know that we're blessed with very sound minds. I know that we have some of the best intellects around the world. And so we can't fall a victim of that kind of saying. So what exactly, maybe one after the other, what should we be doing? There are several loopholes in the law that is being exploited to make a caricature of our election process. For example, why is it that after every election cycle, INEC can have the choice to tell us that they don't want to, they prefer to use a particular, whether manual or a digital, well, what's it called now? Whether manual or the machine-based whatever. That's because apparently there's a lacuna that needs to be sealed up. So you take it from there. Let's hear you.
Well, I will begin by telling us that this is just an evidence that Nigerians are so smart. Nigerians are so smart. Why do I say so? You agree with me that after every election cycle, there's always a proposal for amendment of our electoral laws.
Yes.
Why do you think so?
Why?
Reason is that there's this saying that when the bird learns how to perch,
learns to fly
without perching, the hunter will also learn how to shoot without missing. So I think that's what is responsible for where we are. Once INEC thinks they've solved a particular problem, politicians will find a way to circumvent it and make nonsense of the whole thing. And that is because politicians are in full custody and fully in charge of our electoral processes and procedure.
Politicians are
in charge. Starting from making the laws is the politicians, National Assembly.
National Assembly.
Right? So they debate it. They understand the loopholes.
They deliberately leave those loopholes.
I don't say deliberately. At times they don't foresee it. Those in chambers.
Okay.
Until they get back home and the think tank will begin to find ways of outsmarting other political parties. That's point number one. Point number two, it is the politicians, not the executive, that appoint the electoral officers, from the chairman to national commissioners to electoral commissioners and all of that. So far as that is the case, there's room for compromise, there's room for manipulation, and it extends to even the other aspects of it. Whatever happens, they will tell you that you should go to court. Right? So for me, it simply shows that we need to do a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? We need to do a lot more. We need to really x-ray this whole situation and know how best. Now, it makes it look as if we're always experimenting. Because if after every 4 years we come with an addition and subtraction, thinking that it will get it right, when you get to that election, you see new challenges, you see new areas that also needs to be covered. There is no time that election is coming that we don't amend. We tinker with the laws. So the problem for me is not the laws. The problem is with the oppressions. And that is why we need to create things. We have been talking about strong institutions. When people do things and there are no consequences, it affects the entire process. People will lose confidence in the system.
And people who want to take advantage
and then people
of the
will not want to. People know that they are there because it's in their hands. They take advantage of the system. So that is what we are suffering from. I'm aware that even for 2027 election, INEC has also sent in a proposal for amendment, and the lots have been captured.
Okay.
Right? But after providing for all of this, how do we operate it? Do you understand?
Yes.
So, for me, I'm advocating whatever they are doing, let's look at the fundamentals. Number one, process of appointment.
Good.
Don't say this is a presidential power. The constitution created it so, but that constitution can be amended because of political interference. And we have seen it. Even when the politicians don't say anything, everybody wants to be recognized. Somebody wants to do somebody's bidding for whatever reason. Even when it's not. Now, it has gotten to a point that politicians are being appointed into these things, right? And it doesn't work like that. So we advocate that if we are serious, if we want to make progress, then we really need to look at all of these things. Now, who will allow himself, apart from somebody like former President Jonathan, who will allow himself to be used as guinea pig, as an experiment for other people's benefit? That is where the problem is. So, but if we love this nation and we want things to work, we must have to look at that. And for me, there are several ways these things can be done. Some other climes, they do these things. Now, if you want to appoint INEC chairman, commissioners, and all of that, the law will set the criteria for qualification. Just like appointment of judges and all of those things. Set qualification. Now, when there's vacancies advertised, people can apply. If we think it's complex, we can hand it over to other arms of government. Like
National Assembly?
Well, National Assembly, I may not, I would prefer that we look towards the NJC. We even look at the Council of States.
All right, okay.
There are other bodies that can handle this assignment because it's at the foundation of our democracy.
True.
So once the criteria and qualification is clearly set out, they just tick off. People will get through the rounds. You publish it. Let Nigerians send in their
resume.
No, they send in their protests, if any.
Right.
Whatever you know about me, please put it forward. Let them consider it and consider the work or job I'm applying for or I'm nominated for. That's, I mean,
so it doesn't
let's have some. We don't just, independence is not in the name.
It's in the function.
It's in the function.
Yes.
And people, we must see that there are practical steps in making sure that this commission is actually independent. So until we realize that this public confidence will not be restored, there will always be this apathy. When people don't trust the outcome of a system, when the end justifies the means, I mean, all of us will just wait. I watched one, whether it's a skit or whatever, where people were said to compete, swimming pool contest. All of them lined up, jumped into the swimming pool. Somebody now ran across and jumped in at that point and came out. People saw that that's what she did. But she came out first, or he came out first, and was conferred as the winner.
Wow.
So you think that those people that were standing by and watching have not learned that it's the end that justifies the means? So you can do anything possible to ensure that you are there. And it's not healthy for our polity.
It's not.
So I think we really need to look at the kind of people we send in and how we send in these people. If really you want to get involved in election management, you don't have business. In fact, you should be barred for 10, 20 years from contesting, from accepting any appointment or handling anything outside
before that time.
Before and after.
Right.
So that you don't use it to confer unnecessary advantage on yourself or whosoever you think you're representing. So we really need to sanitize what is happening in INEC. Number two, I will also suggest that we balkanize INEC. They have too much powers. You can't be the alpha and omega. You conduct election. In fact, first of all, you register political parties.
Yes.
You regulate what they do. You can see that these days, just like what is happening in PDP now, with their national secretary thing, they are waiting for INEC to recognize any of the facts. What should that be? And you are telling us that political parties, whatever they do, is internal, whatever the political parties and all of that, when you still participate by taking side. Now, you are the one that will print the voters' cards, or voters' ballot papers and all of that. You're the one that will conduct. You're the one that will employ who you want to employ. You're the one that will announce the result. We are still the one that will come to court to defend what you have done in favor of whosoever you have announced. No, we need to really interrogate these things if we are really a serious nation. So we need to look at that aspect. If we can create a commission that will handle registration and regulation of political parties, let them handle it squarely, and also put some strong measures to curtail the manipulation in the political parties, hiding under internal party affairs. The process must be clear. It must be clear. You must determine what an outcome should be by virtue of what has happened along the line.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that. If that can happen, let there be that aspect that is dedicated to running the affairs of political parties in terms of monitoring, because most of the party congresses and elections and whatever, they don't even have people to send. How many of them do they cover? To what extent?
What's the quality of the coverage?
I mean, of it. So we need to ensure that the processes are what it should be. Now, these other aspects can handle core elections.
That's the remaining.
Yes, you can handle core elections. Now, I'm also looking at this issue of electoral offenses.
Good.
Is an aspect we need to look at. Okay, look at the conviction of the professor that collect whatever I know you. So what are the consequences? No, tell me, what are the consequences? And these are the things that determine who leads us and who doesn't lead.
Sure.
Who comes into public office to control public funds and policies. So that's an aspect we also need to look at. Beginning from, it's not everything executive. No. All of these parts should be coupled together to be able to get democracy.
All right. All right. That's a very solid, a series of solid points that has been made by Barrister Igwe right there. Look at, let's take a look too. All of us, let's take a look together at the case of that professor who was recently convicted. Now, of what use is that conviction? Of what use is that judgment? When the person whose bidding he did is in power and the judgment does not extend to him, so he suffers that alone. The person, and in any case, the person has even come to deny him entirely and say it was not because of him. So these are serious issues that we need to take a look at. How long should that kind of matter take if it's to make any sense when the tenure is almost through? Or no, it's even the other tenure, not this particular one, if I remember correctly. You can imagine that judgment is just coming at a time when the how do they say it now? The horse has left the stable. It's of non-effect whatsoever on the person for which the job was done. I think that that's very sad. I think that that's a huge travesty, a miscarriage, if you ask me. Because if that affects the professor, then it should affect the person he did the work for. Because what it says is that that person's mandate was not given. He didn't deserve that election.
No, you can't also jump to that conclusion.
How?
Because in that election, he wasn't the only person that stood for that election. He wasn't the only person that stood for that election. So, you see, the thing is that ordinarily this thing should have served as deterrent, but just as I said before, hence there are no consequences. Things just happen. In this case, is there any provision anywhere that should affect the so-called beneficiary? Right? Now it brings us to the point that not every matter should go to court.
All right. So what happens?
INEC, as the electoral management body, has some powers, quasi-judicial powers, which they are not using. We saw it during Jonathan Buhari's, former President Jonathan, former President Buhari's announcement and declaration, where one of the ministers then, Urubebe also, was protesting. See, the same thing happened again, Dino Melaya and Mahmoud. You see, when there's a protest, when there are complaints from the conduct of the election, conduct of the officers that are under INEC, INEC has the right to sit back and investigate it and make a decision one way or the other. It's not everything you dump on the court for court to now do what INEC has been empowered by law to do.
Okay, so
if there was such complaint,
taken care of that professor's case.
What do you call it? INEC should have taken care of that. If there are infractions, for court to convict him means there is an evidence. So why didn't they look into those things and use administrative platform to deal with it? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It happened in Abia State, the professor from Futo, that was unduly, there was this attempt to unduly interfere with the water, and she stood her ground.
Sure, yes.
She was celebrated.
Yes.
INEC took credit for it.
So in this other case?
So in this other case, it should have been so too. Oh, your concerns have been taken note of. Right? So we suspend this for the next 48 hours or the next whatever. Set up a committee or a platform immediately. Let them look at it. Because if they had done that and the matter still went to court and he's convicted, we will now know the people we are facing. Because the court cannot give you what you did not ask for. They cannot also go outside the provisions of the law to make any decision or pronouncement. So there's a lot that we actually need to do.
To correct.
By and large, we need to amend our constitution. We need to amend the Electoral Act. We need to take some bold steps as a nation to ensure that the confidence of the people in our electoral processes and outcome is restored.
All right.
To ensure there's transparency in the process and to ensure that outcomes reflect the processes.
The process, yeah.
Outcomes should be predictable.
Exactly. If not perfectly,
It should,
but at least should be close to.
Let it be close to.
Yeah.
Not you're going to an election, you don't know what the outcome will be. Now, we look at other people's electoral processes and we clap for them. I see some of us during the last American election glued to CNN and other international distinct. You see real-time voting. You don't need 2, 3, 4, 5 people in an enclosure to determine what happens to the entire citizenry. In
fact, some votes are cast through the mail.
That's what I'm telling you. These are the things we are also talking about. This issue of shutting down a week for election, no movement, no this. For me, that is, we are losing economically. Why can't we sit down at the comfort of our houses
and vote?
We all have BVN. We all have NIN now. We even have phone numbers. If some financial institutions are using phone numbers attached to accounts, OPay and all of these things, your phone number is your ID, is your account number.
Yeah.
So why can't we adopt that? NBA, we've done it. It doesn't matter what people say. One, it has saved a whole lot of stress and funds.
Yeah.
So you set it up, make it real time. There can be screen here and there. NTA has one of the widest coverages. You pick them and 2, 3 other stations. Let them glue to the server and the system. As people are accredited, it's showing real time. If they have the beavers, once it authenticates, it sends to wherever. Once you do that, you're also voting. Right? Yeah. So as people are voting, you are seeing it there. This party is going, this is going down. Everybody sees the graph.
Exactly.
Plotting and jumping.
Can follow it.
But, exactly. People look at Forex. They sit down and they monitor it.
Exactly.
How do they do their forecasting? Exactly. So why can't we do that? Now, at the end of the day, we finish from pulling units. You send in your results. It hits the system. People are doing their calculation.
Sure.
Right?
Because so they followed from the beginning.
So people cannot determine even before the end of election who has won.
Winner.
You are seeing it.
We need to get to that point.
This back-end arrangement and no, this is the server. This is just for monitoring. What is all of that for? Every year we spend billions. Every 4 years we spend billions for this empty. At the end of the day, what do we achieve? So there's a lot we can do. And as I said, Nigerians are very smart. If we identify this as a problem and we are ready and eager to solve it, I can assure you that you have people who even offer these services free of charge to ensure that we get to this. And who said that our diaspora people cannot vote?
Why can't we get to that point where our diaspora people vote? Exactly. So these are the issues. I mean, if you can do transfer of money, if you can send a text to your mother in the village, if you can do all that, why can't we allow? There's a huge one that was achieved recently, the fact that prisoners can now vote. Big up. But let's take it further. Let diasporans be able to vote.
You see,
I don't understand.
It's not even only them. See, voting is a civic responsibility of every citizen.
Sure.
In that case, we shouldn't leave the determination of who governs to just about 20 million, 30 million out of 200 and something. There's no how eligible voters shouldn't be up to 60, 80 million.
Exactly.
Right? I like what they are putting forward now, trying to canvass for compulsory voting.
All right, I was going to come there.
These are some of the innovations that can come in. And if you are absenting, you state it there.
That you are not.
It should be counted. Yes. It should be counted. Because if these things are not done, and you come and tell us that we have 500,000 voters in this registration area, and the people that come out to vote, they are just 50. What happens to 450? So that leaves room for manipulation.
For all kinds of things. Yeah.
So you can come here, bring in extra 300,000 people and add to this 350. And somebody is getting 3. How do you expect the person to prove that in court when it has been accepted?
There's a whole lot. Barrister, let me connect with the other barrister. Like I said, it's a lawyer's show today, and I do hope that Barrister President Ewemade Aigbokhan is watching, and he can link up after this break. We'll take a break, and he'll join us after the break.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
we blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
we blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there. I am Ruben Okala.
Hello, I'm glad to have you join us again on the news on the hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm there putting Baba today.
I am Igwe. The politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omoogun. I've not done a change of name.
Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network
We always dish out beautiful material. Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan at KAFTAN TV. Hello there. I am Ruben Okala.
Hello, and glad to have you join us again on the news on the hour, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's capital.
And that has been the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Fatima Abbas Hassan. I'm very good about today.
I am feeling the politics of Lagos State is still very much in the hands of the leaders.
My name is Dayo Omoogun. I've not done a change of name.
Adebayo Film and Charter Arts Network.
We always dish out beautiful material. Imagine a beautiful world. That's our slogan.
Welcome back to the Polity, and it's coming to you live from the Abuja studio of KAFTAN Television. By the way, let me remind us that KAFTAN stands for King Adebayo Film and Theatre Arts Network Television. It has nothing to do with KAFTAN dress. Well, you're welcome back, and we'll go right on to the barrister in the airspace, the barrister president, Igwe Aigbokhan. I hope you're there. Oh, great. Good to have you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now, let's go. What areas? I'm sure, were you watching before now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you heard what your colleague, some of the points that were made by him. Now, let's have your way in on this, and what areas do you think that Nigeria should be reforming right now in order that we can have better outcome in 2027 concerning our elections?
Reform the political parties. The parties as it is now have a level of independence, and the courts over the time have spoken that they don't have power to direct them except relates to areas of breach of right to fair hearing, crime, theft, very serious offense. Everything political parties should be regulated. They need to have a register of political parties, to know the members of political parties, the ideology of the political party, those representing them at the executive level, and those representing them at the level of political ranking. This must be regulated. And when these rules are breached, INEC should have the power to sanction these parties. Because whether you like it or not, the candidate that will represent you today, tomorrow, in the future is going to come from a political party.
Okay, sorry, Barrister Aigbokhan. Can you take that again? That the people who represent the parties at the executive level should be regulated by INEC. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very well.
Okay.
But my point is this. Those who represent us as in the representative democracy are not from the streets.
True.
They are not independent candidates.
True.
They must come from a political party. So political party is so vital, is a vital vehicle that we need to know the fuel gauge, we need to check the engine, we need to check the tires. These people must be regulated. And that is independent electoral commission. It's not one party, it's not for any party. It's not for the government. That's why it starts with independent. It's independent of the government.
So when you say INEC should regulate those people, you're saying that INEC should have its own standard, is it? Side by side with whatever the party decides, and whatever the party decides, whoever the parties choose should be looked at from the prism of INEC. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, INEC should use the party's constitution.
Okay, use the party's constitution.
to ensure they comply.
To ensure compliance. All right.
Yes, and it's to sanction at its rules. If a political party is violating its own rules, and they should sanction. If a person is coming up to say, I'm a political party leader, they should check his register. So party membership should be with INEC. So if they want to confirm if I'm a politician, and they just check the database and check which party my name is. So okay, this person is a party, is a member of some party. So this Ula Balu about governance, about electoral process should have a shift of focus to the party.
To the party,
the party
right?
Must be regulated. It's an important vehicle. But if it is not regulated, we may all find ourselves inside the river soon. We are close to the brink. So that's the next suggestion I'm making. The second one is that there should be enforcement or sanction. And my colleagues have said, election rigging is 3 years. 70% have been sanctioned for that. Influence of voters is 10 years with a option of fine of about 1 million. So which party big bag have been sanctioned for this? Even though we know that.
Okay, so the laws are there, but they are not being enforced.
The laws are there. They are not being enforced. So my postulation is very simple. We shouldn't go back to National Assembly for any adjustments.
Okay.
We have sufficient laws to regulate this process. Save for the fact that INEC should be given a power to have a registrar of political parties. That is like a director in charge of the directorate of political party to ensure that it regulates them and pin them to their own rules and their own constitution to ensure that there is transparency, there is a rule of law, there is wider room for political participation, there's more engagement, and most importantly, that people can have an ideology. You ask somebody what's the ideology of PDP, they don't know. What the ideology of APC, they don't know. Who are the members of the party, they don't know. Yet they are doing congresses, yet they are doing world meetings. So these things should be there. Expressly stated, the dues you are paying to that party should be there. Funds that you have raised for the party should be there. Labour Party has just raised the kind of one that there was so much money raised by Labour Party past presidential candidate Benefita Obi. The data should have been with INEC on how much they raised in London, how much they raised in Europe, what have they done with the money, and what is left in the balance sheet. So focus has to be on the party by INEC, while we are also tinkering with other parts to ensure that there is good right for our electoral process. Last point is that there is already a suffrage right for prisoners to vote from 2014. The prisoners have the right to vote, and that extends to all other persons, including the military, paramilitary, the UCOM members. They can vote. They have the right to vote.
That's a good one.
Nothing stops the military from voting. Nothing stops the NYC members from voting. But there should be a mechanism for them to participate in the electoral process. A UCOM member who is coming from Osogbo and serving in Abuja, registered in Osogbo, why will he vote in Abuja? So there should be a mechanism in a way that there's a collaboration. If a UCOM member resumes in Abuja, it goes to INEC to get a special code. He uses his special code
to vote
to him as a UCOM member, because it's an essential person. It's not my kind of person. I can come to Abuja and go back to my location and vote. But it's a special, it's on a national assignment. The military officers, they are on a national assignment. They should not be given a special code where they can go to any polling unit available and show their code and are allowed to vote in any polling unit where they are closest to, including the inmates. We have made this proposal to INEC. We are sure that maybe the next INEC chairman will come up will embrace the idea and be able to ensure that there is broader participation of voters. It's not all about saying that, voters must come out, citizens must come out and vote, compulsory vote.
All right, this is what I'll do. Barrister, I'll get back to you on that, but let's first of all interrogate some of the points that you have made, because my guest here, your colleague, is not getting what you're saying, so I need to try to project it. And then now he said that the focus, as far as is concerned, should be on the parties, that there should be less of tinkering with the electoral law, that as far as is concerned, the parties should be properly regulated. People who come to office through the parties should be how do you say it now, supervised by the INEC. And he tends to also agree with you that maybe there should be a separate body that registers parties, maybe like a directorate of party registration or something like that. That's what he said. And he's saying that why is it that if somebody says he's a politician, that from the INEC portal, you should be able to know, okay, this person is a politician, is a member of so-and-so party, straight away. So when you say that you've raised him up as one of the executives, he can check based on the information he has. I mean, INEC can check based on the information they have to confirm what you are presenting. And then on the basis of that, they can accept or not, or suggest to the party, because of this, that, this person will not fly. Now, he's also saying that in terms of electoral offenses, that there are enough laws, but that they are not being enforced. That as we speak, influence, using influence against voter or something like that, that's what he said, is attracts 10 years and maybe 1 million naira fine, penalty or something. And then he talked about the other one that has 3 years. But that's how many people have been prosecuted and sentenced. That there's almost none. And that's what needs to be done. Enforcement, ensuring that there's compliance with the law. And then he also, there was the last point, maybe I'll need to get back to him.
Yes, while you try to figure that out, let me start from the last point he made. Now, if there are enough laws to deal with that, which I agree with, and is not being implemented, we're not talking about properly implemented now, not being implemented, does it not show that either that INEC is overwhelmed or there's no capacity? Number two, you cannot also be a judge in your own cause, right? So all you need to do is to create that platform to ensure that what ought to be done is done. The way it is now is not working, right? So if we have the law, which we do have, whose responsibility? Is it INEC legal team? Do they have the prosecutorial powers? Is it the office of the Attorney General? How does it get to him? And mind you, if it's their political party that won, he's a beneficiary. Can he turn around to begin to prosecute the people that made it possible for them to be in office? Or is it the Nigerian police that are being paid by INEC to come and assist them? Or is it the ones that are being influenced by the politicians? Who does that? So except a body is charged with that responsibility, and that's the only thing that they will be judged on, that's the yardstick that people can say to assess their performance. Now we talk about financial crimes, you know whose responsibility it is. You talk about official corruption, you know whose responsibility it is. So you cannot begin to judge those commissions and agencies by the mandate of others. The mandate for INEC is too wide. They cannot handle it. And the way it is engenders conflict of interest. Right? No person will come out and say, okay, this is my son. He committed this offense, therefore I am sentencing him. Nobody will do that. So why do you want to tempt people with things they cannot do? It shows we are not serious. So to that extent, if there is law and the law is not being implemented, then there is no law. So we need to give
if there's law and the law is not being implemented, then there's
no law.
Bottom line.
Because the person you have given it to has no capacity, either by default or by choice, to do that. And there's no way to checkmate or compel the person to do it. Have they even seen it as an offense? All the people affected are, majority of them are their staff. Who compromises? Who gives politicians access to figures and information and platforms? If we are talking about vote buying, mind you, our elections are the most policed in the world. And police will sit down, or security agencies are there, yeah, these things are happening.
They do happen.
So are they clothed with the necessary powers and apparatus to deal with that? If those officers, if those officers at those polling booths arrest any of those boys, a call will come from upstairs. I can assure you.
So what's the way around that?
Now that's what I'm saying. See, that EFCC even leaves their office on election days to go to polling units and start chasing people around. We should applaud them, because ordinarily, it's a surplusage for them. Somebody should take responsibility and be joined with it. The police or any security officer that should come there that day should be on the platform of that agency, not INEC. I can't call you to my occasion, to my feast. I feed you, pay your transport, and you come there and want to spoil my show. It won't work. So there are lots of contradictions and conflicts of interest. So that cannot, until we set out and charge someone with that responsibility and judge the person by it, then we've not started.
So I can't invite you to my feast, feed you, entertain you, make you happy, and then you come and spoil my show.
If you have seen it happen, show me.
And then it's not possible for your child to do wrong, and then you take your child to the law enforcement. It's very rare. That's very rare. So the barrister is saying we need to allocate that to a body.
I agree.
So that they take
responsibility. That's what I've been saying, both for political parties registration and regulation. That should stay apart. Electoral offenses and all of that should stay apart. Let INEC focus on voting elections.
All right, now let me quickly go to him. I hope he's connected. I hope you have connected back, Barrister President Aigbokhan. Okay, please do try and reconnect. We're waiting.
Okay, while we wait for him, I think the first point you made about INEC regulating the leadership of what? See, politician is not an occupation.
What is it?
What is it? It's service, and it's when you are called upon. So you can't begin to, you want to, as I am now, I decide tomorrow that I want to join a political party. I join, and I'm being made an officer. You now go back to database of INEC to say I've not been in the system, I'm not a politician, or I don't have the capacity. First and foremost, political party is only a platform for you to enjoy your constitutionally guaranteed freedom of association. Is an inalienable right. Now, when you come in there, leadership is an internal party affair as it is today. The problem we are having is not from the leadership, because if it's that, INEC are the ones that give a stamp of when they tell you, okay, we are waiting for the list, INEC will recognize this. They are doing that. That's not where the issue is. The issue is when we talk about internal party affairs, is when they conduct their primaries. The people that they send to monitor them, how do they monitor them? How are they complying with the electoral laws and guidelines for conducting their party congresses, conducting their party elections?
Now, don't you think, let's look at what the barrister is proposing. Is it possible that a party raises a fraudster that's known to INEC, but known, of course, to the party, but they feel that that's their best candidate? Is it possible, from what he is saying, is it possible for the INEC to step in and checkmate that?
Now, it means that you are not taking the full view of what the law provides. No ex-convict can serve in any capacity politically.
No, he may not yet have been convicted.
No, if somebody is not convicted, and the Constitution presumes everybody innocent until convicted, how do you now come here? That's criminal defamation. In fact, they will take you up. On what ground? They say somebody is a fraudster, well known to the system. They can't do that. In fact, it's an indictment on the government. That you know that somebody is a fraudster, he's not behind bars. He's moving around, even looking for political office.
And you just made a very solid point. You can't have an ex-convict
that's the law.
In power.
Yes, that's the law.
So that even knocks it off entirely.
I mean,
All right. Okay. I don't know, Barrister President, are you back? Sai? Okay, please do try and rejoin. Please try and reconnect. Now, let's take a look at a few of these other items that I think we should be dealing with. Now, you already touched briefly on it in your opening remarks. Can we progress from the president hiring the chairman of INEC, or maybe some a number of very important officers of that body, including the chairman? Is it possible for this to be given to another? You know, I raised such a thing here recently, and somebody said, maybe we should have INEC the president hiring, with the National Assembly having the power to fire, so that there's a countermanding. Let me take it to Barrister President. He's back now. Barrister President, let me ask you, do you think that it is okay for the president to be the one who appoints the officers, the top officers of INEC, including the chairman? Is it good that way? Don't you think that every single time that you pay the piper, you are entitled to dictating the tune, and this can get in the way of having pure elections in Nigeria?
Yeah, that's very correct. I think the way judicial officers are appointed is the way the chairman of INEC ought to be appointed. The way judicial officers are appointed is the same way INEC ought to be appointed. INEC chairman ought to be appointed. I think the nomination should come from the Nigerian society and the NJC to the NJC. To the NJC screen those people as shortlist, and then they finalize. If they send out their finalists and send those Senate for confirmation. So the appointment should be by NJC and not by the president.
Okay, the appointment of the chairman should be by the NJC.
Yes.
That's what you suggest.
Yes.
That tallies totally with what the barrister in the studio said a while ago.
Yeah, I agree with him.
You agree with him?
I agree with him.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, not just the chairman, I think that some top officers, like what do you call
national commissioners,
exactly.
resident electoral commissioners,
yes. And all that. I think that should be the process of their recruitment.
Very correct.
Very correct for you
so
too.
That they can be independent. Yes,
so that they can truly be independent. Right.
Independent.
Okay, both of you are agreed on that. Now let's take a little step further. Now, how is it possible that somebody whose case is still in court is already in office as president? And what impact will that have, or has it been having, on the kind of justice that we have been getting? Don't you think that something should be done around that?
People must fight cases. You win as president today, people will fight cases. Even those who have taken your father's land will fight cases against you. That you are the one who took their own land. So cases must come. The fact that there is a case against somebody doesn't prevent the person from being sworn in.
You think so?
There is an ongoing case. Yes, cannot prevent somebody from being sworn in.
Is that not an undue advantage that can be used to ensure that things go in a certain way?
No, it is the person who has won, the politician is not the one that is the victim. He's the one that they have cases against. He's the one that they are doing a propaganda against. So he's the victim in this case. So what we are saying is that those kind of scenarios will always prop up. You will see a president of this country being sworn in, and there is a court paper in court that he took somebody's father's land.
No.
People must fight.
Not necessarily, not other cases. The case of that same election, I mean, that is opposition parties saying that the victory, they disagree with the victory.
I think there is no law that should forbid someone from being sworn in when they have been declared a winner, because there's a court case. I think the only regulation that can come is that during the duration of the court case, it may not be able to administer funds. So the Auditor General and the Accountant General administer the funds of the state pending the determination, so that
pending
we will not
the
use
determination.
the funds,
So that the funds are saved.
So it's in the hands of the civil servant who continue to administer it with receipts until a formal decision at the Supreme Court affirming that person as a real
as a winner. All right. How do you read Barrister Igwe?
All right. First and foremost, just before I come to these court cases, the other issue about appointment process and whatever,
yes.
I think for now, it's the president that recommends to National Assembly who does the screening before confirmation. So it's still within the purview and corridor of politicians. That's the point we are making. So yes. If you have a National Assembly that cannot object to whatever the president so what? Says. How do you deal with that? So, where you have a National Assembly that has the majority of a particular party, how do you think that they want to stop that which is coming to them? So that's why it has to be divested from there completely and let these people be answerable to a third party that will never benefit from what they are doing directly. Then in terms of the court cases,
you need to put a proper this into that thought, but maybe you don't have the time right now.
All right. So now for the court cases, I think in terms of election sequence, there should be timeline. Yes, I know there's a timeline for you to bring your actions, pre-election matters. The bottom line is that all pre-election matters should be dealt with before the election itself. So there won't be surprises. How do I mean? Parties have conducted their primaries. We need to know the candidates. As not just as submitted to INEC and people laying claim. It should be put to rest
before
by the court, before we now know who is representing each party.
Right.
I can't vote you for party A, and after elections,
they say you
are not the rightful candidate. I mean, that's an injustice. Number two, when elections are conducted, we also need to tidy up with the court processes, end it before swearing in.
I think so, right?
Right, and these things are possible. They can be done. So it's just to sit back, tinker with it because of what the harm it has done to the system. Do you understand? Before swearing in, I think that should be done because as it is today, with the level of hunger cutting across cadres and spheres, if somebody is seated, mind you, he has the power. He has the power, so he can do a whole lot. The field, there's no longer level playing field for everybody. So we need to deal with that.
Even without saying anything, the body language alone can be...
Well, see, let me tell you, not only for the outcome of the elections, as per court matters, even in the conduct of each election, when in election sequence you hold presidential election first, somebody emerges.
Right.
Every other election will go that way because they will tell you they want to align with Abuja.
Should we be doing something about that now?
We should have elections in all elections at once. If we
can't, what about the logistics problem?
Which logistics? There's no logistics anywhere. If we introduce the technology we are talking about, which logistics? Now, we have e-wallet for farmers. There's network everywhere. Right? People can vote from wherever. In fact, you don't need to send somebody to the creeks. So you are now deploying heavy logistics, helicopter to go and drop, boats and all of that, flying boats. Oh, they think capsized or this. No, we eliminate all of these things. Or tomorrow you're accusing national, road transport workers. This, no. Sit where you are. I sit where I am. You have people at the state level. What are they doing that you need to send people from here? We sit at various servers and monitoring rooms and all of those things with our engineers and IT and tech officers. People are voting, people are accrediting. Even app, they can get an app on your phone. NIMC, I think at this point you can even generate your own card and number before everybody will go and queue up.
Right.
And people are falling under the sun. But today at the comfort of your bedroom and phone, you get their app, you click on it, you get what you want, you download. Payments, remittance, there's serious innovation. So why can't we apply it to this? All we need to do is to sit back, get these things done, no logistics, all elections in one day. You give a timeline. That's why you see early voters. It happens. Even in registration for activities these days, people log in and you see everybody. Zoom. Before now, do we think that such a thing will happen? Now you are seeing the man in Lagos. Before now you say it's witchcraft. So if we've advanced, if technology has advanced, why can't we key in? These things can be done and they are secured.
And they're secured.
Yeah, because it's real time. When will the person come in to manipulate? They don't have time. When you don't know the number of people that will vote, as you closing the last line, the figures are there. So what happens to them? People will screenshot, go and change it.
You can't tamper with it.
So it helps us, even for if there's anything, people can now have verifiable data for that election. You see it there. You see it there. This one tell us no, except INEC announces election result, it's an offense for anybody to announce it. What's all of that in 21st century?
All right. Barrister Aigbokhan said something that apart from even the prisoners, the new law allows the military to vote, NYSC to vote. They are part of this.
They are not citizens.
That's good news.
We can't be deciding for them. It affects them too. Yeah. Everybody should vote.
That's a good one.
Everybody should vote.
And I think that we should just go the whole hog and allow the entire people. I mean, we get so much money from diasporan Nigerians, and the major pillars on which the economy is built right now. So why would you still shut the door against them in terms of voting? So those are some of the reforms that I think that we should be looking at. Now, I think that we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll open the phone line so that Nigerians can also weigh in with their own perspectives after the break.
When we say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world, we're not just bragging, we know our onions in the world of broadcasting. One of our outlets to express ourselves to the world is our flagship program, Matters Arising. Join veteran broadcaster Ruben Okala and our crack team live.
And they give us a high price, and we just say, Nigeria, we ready?
As I said earlier, the lyrics is up, talking about the old new national.
On KAFTAN TV, Startimes channel 480 and 124, as well as NIGCOMSAT frequency 12518, symbol rate 29500. Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. live. You can join the conversation by calling this phone number 0802-993-8365. It's dramatic and insightful. Don't miss it. Please join us.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Take a look at what the facts are.
And as we say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting.
And it is about you.
At KAFTAN TV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTAN TV, imagine a beautiful world.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
Welcome back. We're right now on what I normally call the home drive on the show. This is about the last segment. We have less than 20 minutes, and we're throwing the line open. 08029938365 is the number. If that is too fast, it's on the screen, and I can repeat it slowly. 08029938365. Let's have your own contributions from wherever you've been watching from. Of course, you know the drill, your name, your location, and cut down the volume of your TV set. Walk away from it a little bit so that you're not too close and there's no unnecessary reverberation and interference. So let's have you call in. I'm sure you've heard the two lawyers have spoken. They've agreed on certain areas. They have also expressed some different stance. For example, Barrister President Aigbokhan did say that he doesn't see anything wrong with somebody being sworn in while the case is still in court. According to him, all that is required is that he will not be allowed to spend money. He should not be allowed to spend money. The civil servants should run the show until the court dispenses with the case. Whereas the barrister in the studio with me, Barrister Casmir Igwe, says that as far as he's concerned, I mean, there's too much power in the hands of whoever is already in the seat, and he doesn't even have to utter a word for things to be done in his favor. And so as much as possible, the cases should be dealt with before the swearing in. I think that for many Nigerians, that's what they think should be the order. But as we go along, the whole essence of all this is to come out with the best position and to do the needful before the next elections. Because, I mean, let's look at it critically. 5 people contest. They say one person has won. 3 people say, no, we reject that result. We do not agree. And then yet the person goes ahead to get sworn in, and then you are now fighting. I mean, it's like somebody is sitting up above you and you are fiddling, you are playing, you are fighting with his legs. I mean, it's it's a mismatch, as it were. That's not level playing ground. That's not level playing ground. So if we want to have level playing ground, we probably would have to position, give dates to those elections in such a way that the elections are concluded, and within the space remaining, the court cases are dispensed with before the swearing in. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
I don't think it's yet evening, but you're welcome all the same. What's your name and where you calling from?
Please, good afternoon, Nigeria.
All right.
My name is Jibrin.
Jibrin.
I'm speaking from Abuja.
All right, go on, please.
I supported all the barristers. Do you know the program of Nigeria is reform, election reform? If election has not been reformed, all this thing we are doing is null and void. Number one, go to local government in a state. You cannot tell me that all the governors, all the local government chairmen are from APC or PDP or whatever you say. Unless the time where election has been reformed and each out of 20 or 15 local government, maybe SDP get 2, PDP get 3, APC get 4, so that altogether they can be able to battle it there. From there, that is from grassroots. When you get it right from grassroots, it's okay. And again, you can look. Now somebody ring the election for somebody. That man is already the president is already a Senate president. You say you don't know the person. Can you imagine? The professor is suffer for that now. And what happened to the person that they ring this thing for? Okay, if you say you don't know him, yes, I agree. Let them go to that election now. Anybody that you want is the person they ring for. Let the person face the consequence.
All right,
that is my taking for now.
Thank you very much. Do call in. Jibrin just did, and I'm sure you heard him loud and clear that these reforms need to start from the grassroots, from the local government elections. Indeed, we've witnessed just a series of shams, considering, when you talk about the local government elections in this country, where if the governor is of a particular party, you return results that have, that give like 90% or 95% in favor of the governor's party. I think that's part of the reason I, as a person, do not quite vote for state police. Because if you see what these state governors do with their state electoral commissions, you can imagine what will happen when they have the police under their control. Let me take this. Hello?
Good afternoon, my brother.
You're welcome, sir.
This is Comrade Dayo Omoogun from Obakoko.
All right. Go on, sir.
What is there is that maybe the constitution support the swearing of any aspirant when they have case in the court. But it is highly necessary now that a reformation of constitution on election is highly needed now, because it is not good. It is not palatable when the case is in the court to swear in somebody. Then secondly, the man saying that it is okay like that is talking on the constitution of Nigeria. But if we want to see it vividly, it is wrong. Then secondly, for the military and paramilitaries, by giving them to vote in Nigeria, they have to declare their own franchise. They are citizens. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Ijale. In actual fact, the part that I missed out from what the Barrister President Aigbokhan said, he said they need to provide a special code. He said, for example, an NYSC person who registered in Oshogbo and now he's on a national assignment in Kaduna, how does he vote by the current settings? He said there's a need to have a special code with which he can vote where he's posted to work, just like the military also, who might be on national assignment and they probably have registered elsewhere. So it's talking about bringing in creativity and technology into all of this. You were going to say something.
Okay. Well, starting from the last caller, when he was speaking, something came up. And that is, do you know why president and governors enjoy immunity? To avoid distraction while in office.
Yes.
So why should the process that will bring them into office be allowed to proceed after they've been sworn in? That's a greater distraction.
Okay.
So that principle should catch up with anything about the courts. So it should be determined first before you come in, so that that is taken care of. Now, on the special code, that's exactly what we are saying. If you log into your platform, all your details, all your codes are there. Your BVN, they say put your thumb, index finger, this, it prints you out. It's an authentication. It's already there. So once you put it, biometrics, that's why, didn't they take our biometrics? Yeah, so once you put it, it brings out everything about you. It doesn't matter the location you are voting from.
Be able to vote
once you vote, it goes to your location LGA code or word code and registers there. So this one, people will travel from Kano to Abeokuta or to Umuahia because they want to go and vote. Or when you can't travel, maybe you didn't meet up on time and you are caught up in Benin, you can't vote. No. So these are the things that we really need to simplify. Then talking about, anyway, that was your opinion, talking about state electoral commissions. So what is the difference with what is happening in INEC and in the state electoral? It's the same thing. It's just that same interference. When things are done properly, you see that even your gate man, who has authority and knows his work, will not let you do some things that are wrong because it's protected by the system, by the institution, not at your whims and caprices as a leader. Everybody will come and dobale for you.
And so because of that, so for me, that issue of bringing in state police is part of the things we need. In fact, local government police now and community-based police, we need it. Thank you. Even though that's just an aside.
Yes, even though.
Yeah, so as we begin to wind down, yeah, it's been a very interesting one. We've had two lawyers speaking from their own prisms, and I do think that indeed it's clear that Nigeria's electoral reform, election or electoral processes really need some measure of reforms. Clearly, there's no doubt that there's a huge need for it. And we do hope that those who are concerned, those who have the power to, will do something about this. That's the whole essence. This is agenda setting. This is advocacy. We do hope that some people will take it up from there and do the needful. Because let's go look at it again in our private, in a quiet moment. Take a look at the fact that 5 of us have been involved in a contest, and one of the persons has been thrown up as the winner, but we say no, we don't agree, or maybe just one party says, look, I won, and I feel aggrieved, I feel cheated. So how do we go ahead without first dealing with the matter, and then you install the other person as the president? I think it's really awkward, and I do hope that people are looking at some of these things very clearly. And then Barrister was saying the other time, one of the reforms again that we might need is to ensure that elections are held on the same day. Just bring in a lot more technology to make things easier, and we won't have all these issues, because we have seen over time that wherever the presidency goes is where there's a bandwagon effect on other elections, and it ought not to be so. So if you are going to be able, if you are going to insist on having independence concerning all the elections, it's better to go that same day. So people will vote according to, they have no premonition, they have no information about who is winning what. So everything will come out perfect, I mean, near perfect. I think that that's the way that we should be going. And there are several other things that we need to also take care of. And by the way, security is a big one, because where there's no security, how can you even vote? So I think at this point we will need to begin to round up. I must say thank you very much to Barrister Casmir Igwe.
Thank you for having me.
And I also want to say thank you to Barrister President Ewemade Aigbokhan. He was the one we connected via Zoom. Thank you very much for being there. And I want to say thank you to Nigerians and everyone, all the viewers who have stayed tuned to KAFTAN TV. Please do remember to tell your neighbors that this is where it's happening. There's no better station today than KAFTAN TV. And I really want to say thank you also to the production team. Thank you, every one of you. Big job you're doing. Big up. And let me say, at this point, my name is still Dayo Omoogun. And I like to say bye-bye at this point. Tomorrow is another day. Macaulay will be here on the Polity. And I invite you to join me in the evening today from 8 to 9 on Matters Arising. On Matters Arising, we'll talk about things that are trending, and we speak our minds as individuals, not as a corporate body, but we speak, co-anchors from within the house. We speak our minds as we feel concerning trending issues. And it will be another time by 8 to 9 this evening. Please do join me. Thank you very much. It's bye-bye for now.